I am here today with members of Suicide Star. Suicide Star formed in 2020. Three former members of Canadian band Step Echo got back together to form the indie rock band Suicide Star. They have made the best of their time in COVID quarantine by putting together their debut album, Isolation, aptly titled, that might add, with each member recording their tracks individually from their home. Had to be difficult. We're going to talk about that, and we'll talk about that debut record, Isolation, and what they might have coming in the future. And to introduce each of you, I have Brian Hamilton, drummer for Suicide Star with me, and Aki Maris, bass player for Suicide Star. Thanks, guys, man. This is great.
Pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, awesome. How do you describe Suicide Star music? I have my own thoughts about it. I put it on and, it's right up my alley, in my wheelhouse. How do you describe that to somebody?
Well, I think, first of all, we're a rock band. We're not a metal band. Are we hard rock? Well, some parts could be hard rock. Some parts could be just rock. But I think there's a little bit of Canadian rock in us. There's a slew of bands that are in our wheelhouse, our corner, that have all been pretty successful. And we all come from the same golden horseshoe up here. Of the way rock music is. Now, you can take a band like Nickelback, which I consider Canadian rock, or if you would know Tragically Hip, Canadian rock. So if you're going to mash those two together, you're really getting the big sum of what not all of, but most Canadian rock bands are essentially sounding like. We don't really follow like an LA sound or so that's I say we're definitely a straight up Canadian rock band, and then you can take bands like Triumph and even Rush, for example. They're a progressive band, which we are not, but when they play a straight laid down bit, it sounds like you can put it in the Triumph corner, you can put it in all those areas, right? So and even back then, like you got your Gattos and you've got even Helix, which is an American band, really, but they're Canadian based, right? So
I always think of them as a Canadian band, sure.
Yeah, but they were signed to an American label, so they're technically not an American act.
Okay.
Canadian rock, I think, is a good.
Yeah, like Kim Mitchell, which is, even Kim Mitchell, you can take as an example with Max Webster, right? Between Max Webster and Kim Mitchell, they two different sounding bands, but the hooks are still the same Canadian rock and roll bar, rip your face off hooks.
Yeah, it's cool.
And we grew up that way, and that's just, the way we naturally write. We just, it's in our blood that way.
Yeah, that's pretty great. It's pretty great. You mentioned writing. What is the writing process for you guys? Is there one particular writer? Is it a collaborative thing? And how did it change with this record because of the isolation?
Yeah, this definitely changed a lot. I'll start this off, Aki, and you can finish it up. So when we were doing Step Echo, Aki, Les, and myself, Les was the sole key writer. He wrote everything. He would write the hook, the melody, the lyric. You bring it to the band, and we would just start piecing it through and putting our heart into it. So, he just, what kind of an idea do you have? Here's a groove, and I just slam down a groove, and you go, great, let's go with that. And then we would just build it from that point. But for the most part, the writing was 100% Les. Coming into this project, when we put it together, Les was going with that same understanding. But right away, Rob was like, I don't want to hear your melody. I want to write my own, right? And so a lot of this record really was a good step back for even Les, because he's writing just wicked hooks. He's got something in his mind where the song is going, and Rob hears something completely different, which is something we've never had before. And he writes the melody and the lyric, and it really mashes well because it's nothing what Les had in his mind. So it makes it real interesting for us. I can read Les like Aki can read Les, right? We know where he's going to go with things. And this, doing it with Rob, just grabbing it and and morphing it into something new, we all got to look at each other like, are we going to go an extra bar here? Should we go longer? Everything's a little bit different, right? So, but yeah, the process has changed. Like just the way this whole record came about, the process is our new favorite process, I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'll jump in a little bit. So with Step Echo, we had success, but we were never. It was a 4-piece, and sometimes it would be a 5-piece. We'd have an extra guitar player, but even when it was a 4-piece, that we used to play a lot, covers and individuals, not doing the big shows, it never felt like a full band. It was always the three of us, and the singer was on the outside. So our first singer was like, the show starts at 10:30, 10:35, he would show up. Not like we would be there 2 hours ahead doing the whole setup, tear down. Then when that singer left, we had another one. It was the same. It wasn't the same feeling. So it was always the three of us. So when we started this project, it was again the three of us, and we were contemplating. And then when Rob came in the fold, all of a sudden we became a band with 4 members. And he started right away. And Les was like, "Please write," and blown away because what his thinking is and the way he writes, and to have somebody that's not writing the guitar part and writing the melodies. And some of these songs in the process, like we mentioned, we recorded from home. So the whole album, we never got together in the same room, never discussed it. It was over email, maybe a Zoom call here and there. And some of the times we would start recording the song before we even had the vocal or the melody. And then it would come away and we'd be like, holy shit, it's amazing. Like, but yeah, he wrote, I think, everything with the exception of 1 or 2 songs in this album. Les would give him the song and Rob would come out, and a lot of it based again with isolation and COVID and what we were going through. But yeah, we actually became an equal band that everybody was doing a part. So that was very pleasing to everybody, and including Les. Les wasn't upset, but Les was happy to have somebody else write the stuff. He couldn't wait to see what Rob come out, and he'd always laugh and go, "Wow, I would have never thought of that." So yeah.
And that's excellent to have that extra voice to bounce things off of and give you a different kind of angle on things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, totally.
You love the way you did this. You love that process. Do you see yourself for the next record for doing it the same way, isolating yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely.
Create your own COVID situation.
Yep, absolutely. Now that we're all set up and everybody's got a rig at home, like me here at my place, the ease and the comfort of no pressure. All the years that, Rob as well. Rob, I've been friends with for over 35 years. Just ironic that we never crashed together and did this way sooner, but the ease of going into the studio, or the difficulties of going into a studio, and you got an engineer and a producer staring out the glass at you, and half of the band sitting there watching you screw up take after take, looking at the clock, figuring, oh, there's $50 gone. Oh, there's another $50 gone. Geez, go for coffee? No, we can't afford another $50, right? So that pressure of trying to record through the glass and the eyes peering at you, and then you spend 8 to 12 hours tracking and you end up with nothing. You say, okay, maybe tomorrow we'll get it. And, $300, $400 later, every day wasted, much like, back in the day when you had a record label and they would have endless money. That wasn't the case. We were funding this ourselves, and to have that whole pressure of not getting it done really disappeared, because now we could do it on our own time, right? It's like, if you're just not feeling it today, don't go and do it. It's not going to change the outcome, and it costs nothing. So there was a little bit of relaxed musical emotion where you can just kind of chill back. You throw your track out and you listen to it for a day or two and go, yeah, I think that's good. And then you email it to everybody and they go, I love it. Or maybe you can change this. Okay, sure. I'll go back and change it. But it's not like, I got to start over again. Right.
Right.
It was a real easy way of doing things. If you weren't getting it, you could just put it down, walk away for an hour, come back, pick it up. And I think the way that we did this and how it's so screwy, compared to most recording processes, that it gave us a sound. Yeah. I don't know that the sound would be the same if we were all in the room together.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. You know, how would that change things? I would imagine it definitely would.
Yeah, and that being said, like, I mean, by the time we finished the record and I mixed it, mastered it, and we put it out, and it's like, okay, it's time to shoot a video. That was our first time together in a room playing a song, and we were faking it, right? We're faking it because we're playing for the video part of it, right? So it was quite an interesting turn once we got into rehearsal hall when COVID started to allow us to get together and we could do something with groups of 5. It's like, well, there's only 4 of us in the band. Boom, let's try and get a rehearsal hall. So we rented a rehearsal hall and we sat down for the first time and played, and it was an eye opener because we had to essentially learn how to play with each other because we didn't do that process in pre-production where you would have a band together and you would jam things out till the cows come home and then they record it and hopefully they all get it right. So I think having to do that, and now that we've done it, now that we've done the rehearsal part of it, the gelling of all of our personalities of what we tracked actually didn't fight each other. And that was one thing we were a little afraid of. Like, okay, we tracked all this stuff. Now we get in the room and try and do it together. Is it going to be difficult? Is it going to just, grind against the pavement the whole way? Or is it just going to be a nice, smooth, slippery slide and we can read each other? We know where somebody's going or not going, or if somebody's missed it. It was quite a surprising, it was a surprising love. Not even love. What's the word I'm looking for? Aki, help me out here.
All right, let me give you So the same as you're saying recording, it's not only that, is if you have to get in a studio, it had to be this day, the engineer had to be, so you'd always be the one day, and if you can the other day. I never liked that process. Because a lot of the times the song would come in and you didn't even have a chance in the roll process. The song would come in, you would hear it once, okay, now go do it. And you'd have to try to piece it together. In this situation, we would get the ghost guitar. I would get it. I would start thinking of ideas. And during recording, I had COVID back in the early days. So I couldn't sleep. So I would get up sometimes at 2 a.m, put my headphones on. I had my amp simulated, sound like my stuff, and I would just play for hours and hours. So the one thing that it actually did is, by the time we did get together, we knew these songs inside and out. But what Brian was saying is we had to learn how to play together. But it's the first time where we had a rehearsal and we played the whole album, and we were like, we could have done that. We learned the songs, because in recording, we never did. You would do it, but you do a piece, and then, all right, well, cut it, we'll do the next piece. I couldn't edit, so I had to do it till I got a perfect tape. So it took me 100 times, and it was okay because I learned the song. So when we all got together for the first time, it's not like it grinds to a halt. Yeah, we were a little off, but we all knew the song. Nobody knew, like, oh, I went to the verse and stuff. We knew it because we had done it so many times on our own. And with the 3 of us, without Rob, we've done it so many times that we can meet each other while we're playing. And it was amazing. And we were talking about this. I would never want to go back to the studio. I have a laptop. I have my headphones on. I can do it 100 times. I don't feel the pressure. And there's nobody telling me, no, do it this way. No, try this. I'll do it. Then when we put it together, it'll change it. So absolutely love the process. I would never want to go back.
Yeah, I think the only way we'll go back to doing things in a studio like we did before is if we were going to go and actually print the bed tracks. Because for myself, engineering myself drumming, I'd have to run into the other room, sit down, get my headphones on, get ready to go, and I miss the first count. It's like, crap. Right. And I have to come back, stop everything, reload, start, delete that. Okay, hit and run in there again. So it's a bit of a challenge to doing it on my own, tracking drums. So not that I can't do it, but it's a bit of a challenge. I think I would have a better time heading into a studio, knowing that I'm just laying down the drum tracks and I have an engineer on the other side of the room. I could do that here at my house, but it wouldn't be nearly as fun.
Which we did for the Christmas song. For the Christmas song, we did that.
Absolutely.
You did that somewhere else? You did it at the rehearsal studio,
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. If somebody's never heard Suicide Star, I heard about you guys. I go to listen to something. What's the first note I should hear? What's the first thing that should come
Oh,
into
I
my
would
ears?
I'm gonna go with "I Survive." I think that's a huge song. I love
Yeah,
that just off the bat. It's like that's a description. That for me, I just love
it
that
it
song.
sums up our sound. Like if you listen to "I Survive," you kind of get an idea of what the rest of the record is going to sound like.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to start with "I Have a Star" or "Follow," for an example, "Follow's" a little bit more of a darker song. That if that was your first impression, you would be going, okay, well, the rest of the record doesn't sound like this song.
Right.
But now that you've been introduced to it by "I Survive" or 21 Guns, both of those really set a tone for the rest of the record. That would be my best two that I would say would give you a listener a good go of what they're in for,
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. My first exposure was "I Survived," and it was, it totally set me up for the rest of the record. Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah. The differences between Step Echo, we kind of went through that. Do you ever see yourself revisiting any of that material with Suicide Star?
I'll take that one, Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually, since we wrote the songs and we own the songs as well, and Les pretty much wrote them, we are going to re-record at least one. And in our show that we just played last weekend, we actually had two of them in there that we really liked, and Rob's voice went perfect with them. Because those songs we still love, and the project can move forward. We didn't want to continue it with another singer. We wanted to put it to bed and start fresh.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's some really good songs there that we don't want them to go away. So since we do, we just play them. People that know us that come, they know exactly what those songs are. I don't think we'll do a lot, but we probably will do one for sure, and maybe one more. I wouldn't want to do all the material because that's kind of defeating at that
Right.
point. But yeah,
that's great news, because I got introduced to Suicide Star, listened to that, and then I did my research and was seeing where you guys came from, and I found that, and then I went to it and I said, these are really good songs as well. This is a solid band. And then I thought, and it's slightly different. Obviously, I have a different voice. And I thought, wow, I'd like to hear these done with Rob and the Suicide Star, mentality. So that is great news. That's really great news.
That's the other thing about this project as well, is all the Step Echo stuff was done with a producer.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do that. We produced this ourselves.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of restraints taken away.
Yeah.
Sure. And some learning curves too.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah, definitely. And that's great. That sets you up, I think, better for the future. You know a little more of what, that big board behind you, and you know how to use it, and you can be dangerous with that thing for sure. What came first, the song or the band name? I see the song Suicide Star, and you got the name Suicide Star. Where did the name come from? And was the song written before the name?
It was actually, I think it was in our second or third rehearsal. So when the three of us, Les included, we decided to move forward, we were looking to get a singer, and I think Brian was on Facebook, and a video came up of Rob's actually a drummer, right? Brian, is that correct? He was a drummer. I mean, he's a great singer, but he's a very good drummer as well. And I think Brian saw a video of him playing the drums.
Yeah, well, that's what sparked it off, was him playing the drums. And it reminded me, it's like, oh yeah, Rob's playing his drums. And I started scrolling down his page, and there he is sitting on his couch playing a guitar and singing a Journey song. I'm like, son of a bitch, I forgot he could sing. He hadn't done anything in 15 years, right? So getting to the name, when they weren't really even rehearsals. We were getting together in Rob's backyard because it was COVID. So we were staying our 2 meters apart with acoustic guitars and discussing and just chucking around some ideas. A mutual friend of, yeah,
right?
a mutual friend of mine. a mutual friend of mine and Rob's is a bass player in another band around here that's good friends of ours. And he was doing some project work with a band from Toronto and LA. He was doing some stuff with them, and they actually came up with the name Suicide Star
for a song.
And Rob brought it up when we were having this discussion. I went, that's a great band name. And we hummed and hawed and hummed and hawed and hummed and hawed. And I couldn't let it out of my head. It stuck with me right out of the gate. We had some reservations, obviously, because you have the word suicide. Sure. And if you didn't know, or, you could probably misconstrue that of being all kinds of different things. But so does most band names, right? There's a lot of weird band names out there. And it's like, not offensive. Yeah, it can be. But we once we started discussing it is more the word that I'm looking for. When we started discussing about the name, and I said, to me, a suicide star, what I understand would be a supernova. Mm-hmm. Right? Oh. And then right away it triggered off a brand new thought process. I was like, yes, this has got nothing to do with this evil world of hanging yourself or killing yourself. It's about the universe is full of these things that happen, and boom, an explosion happens and all these shit's hurtling somewhere. That's on a suicide mission to run into something. Did it have a choice? No, it's a suicide star, right? And that's where that whole thing came up from, and that's how the name came about.
And then the song, Rob actually came, I think it was the 8th song that we were recording. It wasn't in order. It was like all of a sudden Les would be like, oh, I got this riff. I put it together. Here's a song. And we sent it out. And then Rob on his phone, I think, recorded just the chorus and sent it to us. And we were like, holy shit. And so the song came after, and he wrote the song with the name, which again was not even at the start. We didn't even know that was going to happen. It was 8 songs out of 10, I think.
Yeah. And that's cool. And I love that. It reminded me of like Bad Company, has that signature song kind of thing.
Right.
And Black Sabbath, they have those songs named after the band. I like that. I really like that. You guys are, it tells me you're confident with the name of the band, and you're a unit. It's a strong outcome there. The outpouring of add a little bit of attitude. I like that, man. It's cool for sure. You have a video for Mercy from the album. Before I used to talk to people, I've been doing this for a very long time. Years ago, I would talk to people and how was the video? And it's just a big, large pain in the ass. People hate doing it because they play the song 55 times at least, and it's they never play anything really. And they go through all kinds of makeup and whatever the hell. And it's never an enjoyable experience. It was something a band never liked to do. Now, in the past couple of years, people are enjoying making videos. It seems, people I'm talking to now really enjoy the process. What about for you guys? Did you enjoy making a video?
So I will tell you this, and yes, we enjoyed doing the video, and I'll tell you why we enjoyed doing the video and why it was a pain in the ass before and just like it isn't now. And this goes back to saying what I said before about when we were in the studio and we'd have the producer staring at you and the engineer staring at you. It's no different than having a director staring at you and a cameraman that's sitting there all crusty because he's not eating his pizza when he wants to eat his pizza. Mm-hmm. We did the video ourselves again. We're very hands-on. Everything that you've seen us do thus far, we've done 100% ourselves. It's not like we went out and had a company that's now come in and said, okay, well, here's our storyboard, here's our script. We've done all that. Yeah. What's the design of the project? We designed it. What's the thought process? How are we going to do this? We've done all of that. So it's enjoyable because all the control is in our court at this point, right?
And there is, I don't know if you saw it, on our YouTube channel, we did a video of the whole process of the video in time lapse. Yeah. So there's a video on there that shows you the setup. So again, we shot it just before we went to lockdown and COVID. A week before, we were able to go in the hall.
The second lockdown, right?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, it was the second lockdown because they lifted the lockdown and they allowed a gathering of 7 people.
Yeah, 7 people.
We're like, perfect. 4 guys in the band, lighting guy, a cameraman.
Brian came up with the idea, and we had a good friend of ours, Paul Rosen, who's a videographer, that together we were able to pull it off. The whole idea, everybody had to bring TVs and monitors and get some of the units to do it. And it looks huge. I mean, the video looks huger than what the space was. And that was a lot of Paul's doing with the idea. The one fun part is on the TVs, there's times that you see the band playing. And what we did with that, we actually shot that with an iPhone in my garage during Christmas. Everybody came in and was an individual. So we shot a video and a video. We had a complete video of all of us individual.
Twice. We shot the video twice.
Yeah. So we had one video in black and white.
Both videos are on the same video.
Yeah. So these are all the ideas and then we had the timing on. So the first video matched what we were doing, and all these ideas from Brian, and Paul was able to put it together. We just shot another video, which we will be releasing very soon. We're just waiting for final edits. And it was the same idea. We had the idea, Brian put it down, we got it set. So there's no one else involved except us, with, of course, the camera guy who's also giving us ideas, and the editor now, which is you can't do this. But the ideas are mostly out of Brian's head, actually.
Yeah. It's
cool. Drummers.
It is. It's huge. You got a little bit of like almost a fisheye thing going at times, where there's that big space and it's the close up, and you see all kind. I mean, it's a moving kind of liquid thing, and
that's our editor. That's Paul, and he's just a wicked videographer, and he's got a great eye for all kinds of stuff. And yeah, all credit to him on rescuing my silly ideas.
Yeah,
those two heads together, great stuff, man. Great stuff.
And sorry, that's the one thing that we, again, we're an indie band. There's no funding. Everything comes out of pocket. But our mantra was always, if we're going to do something, we're going to do it right. We're going to take it a step above. We're going to be the top. So we're not going to have a video where, we play, even when we play, we have the click. We play, like the album, what we play is going to be the same. We're never going to go play in a stage where someone's going to go, that's a lot faster than the album. It's never going to happen. No. It's played. We're all very precise to what we do. And the same with the video. It's going to be exact. When we shoot it, we're going to make it to the best of our ability. We're not going to do something half-assed and go, well, this is the video here. Here's us playing in shorts and white sneakers or whatever. Like, the mentality of what it is, it is only indie, whatever. But if we're going to put it out, I want to look at it and go, that's good. I want other bands to look at it and go, Jesus, that's what I want to do, right? I want to be one of those. So when we do stuff, we'll do it. If not, we won't put it out. If it's not, it's not to a standard that we like.
And that's great to hear. I love when a band has pride in what they do. Because there's a lot of garbage out there. I mean, it's like, why would you ever put that out? But you guys are not going to do that. That's good news for sure. Last year you did do a Christmas song. I know you mentioned that. The Day That Christmas Comes. Will we how was that? Well, experience, first of all. And will you do another one?
Yeah, absolutely. We will be. That came about again. One of my crazy ideas. It's not just really my idea. I think the entire industry climbs on that. Paul McCartney's climbed on it.
Sure.
Everybody's climbed on it. You know why? Because we need to make a living. We need to bring something new out. Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 years between records. Mm-hmm. And to be able to put something out that happens once a year, that you get 3 weeks of radio play or recognition or something, because people just bite onto it, right? It's like being a Christmas light ornament maker. Well, you think they got to work all year for those 6 weeks of the year that they're going to sell stuff. So it's the same thing for us. Essentially, you can only sell so much material all year round, and then it's like, hey, Christmas rolls around. There's a reason you can put something out. We did one in Step Echo, one of our first 2 or 3 years, and it went well. And I believe that formula is still there. And we just happen to be, again, still in isolation. Everybody's stuck at home, losing their minds. So this was a nice tool to keep us not lose our minds, because we were preoccupied trying to write and record. So coming up with the Christmas song right away when I brought it up, it wasn't 20 minutes later. Les had sent an idea. Here it is. I got it. Here's a song. And we just started recording it.
In 1 week, Brian, from when he wrote it, we recorded it and had it finished in just over 1 week from first idea. It went out and everybody was done, completed in a week.
Yeah. That's a good feeling too. It's got to be great, and it's coming together so organically. It's really cool. And Christmas times is a great time. We get a bonus track from you guys. It's I'm excited about it. It's cool.
The other nice thing about doing a Christmas song is you don't have to always fall in. You can open up some different sides of what you have as an artist, right?
Right.
We can get sappy as can be, cry your eyes out, cue the puppy dogs, all that stuff. And it's not going to reflect on us of being a softy, wimpy band. It's going to reflect that these guys have got a different side to them, aside from being a hard rock band that just wants to, kick light bulbs across the stage and stuff, right? Like it allows you to open up your band. Like even, you can take a band like Metallica as a great example. They could, if they wrote a Christmas song and it had all kinds of strings and it was a pretty tune, you wouldn't think less of Metallica. You'd be going, right, that's awesome. So that's where I think it's a nice avenue for musicians to bring something out at that time, because it can really open up your repertoire of what you're all about.
Mm-hmm. It also goes to show you, we have stuff on Spotify and on all social media, which is the way to do it now. But I have customers in my business. I travel a lot in Canada and the US. And I had a guy in Virginia text me and he goes, "Hey, so we were at work and listening to Christmas songs, and I heard this Christmas song and it was really cool, and I Shazammed it, and it's you guys." So no one outside our area knows about us and our music, yet because it was a Christmas song, it got put on some playlists, and somebody across that doesn't even really knows who we are, all of a sudden are hearing the song. And that to me was kind of, got a lot of people starting to follow you and catching and finding out this is over a Christmas song without us really pushing it. So it was fun.
Yeah, that's great. It extends your reach. And it's a great point that, you could do a Motown like song. You could do a big band if you wanted. Nobody's going to think anything of it.
Christmas.
You got a lot, right? You got a lot of freedom with that. And that's cool. I'd love something a little bit different, actually. You know what I mean? Hear you guys explore your influences a little, and a little something different's always nice. Definitely. Very cool. Are you working on a follow-up to Isolation?
Not. We've talked about it, but we're only a year. What's the date today? I think in another week it'll be a year for Isolation. We released it at the end of May. It was actually uploaded around this time, but May 31st, I think, was when we let it go. So we've talked about it, but we still, since we hadn't been able to play any of this, our first show was a couple of weeks back. Yeah, we've talked about it, but I don't want to lose myself, me personally, and start another album when there's so much of this to still be shown out live. But when we do, Les already has, 7 or 8 songs that he's got in his repertoire that are going to pop out. So I think maybe by early winter we'll probably start exploring it. I think we want to go out there's a cover song that we're gonna redo. We're gonna do our version of a cover song, an iconic Canadian song.
Rock.
All right.
Canadian rock. We did it with Step Echo, and we're gonna do with this one something that hasn't been done before, and we're gonna put that out. And then I think go out, do the circuit as much as we can in the area, and then probably early winter we'll start working on the second album for sure. It's just we want to give this still has life because
absolutely.
The leagues haven't started to run on this one yet, and that was because COVID stopped us from doing all kinds of things, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you play this one out for sure. It's worthy music. People need to hear it for sure. Will you release a full-length record like you did this time? Do you see that happening?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I wouldn't an EP at this point, because we were really fighting with the idea to actually just bring out an EP or a full-length record.
Right.
And as we were writing and doing what we were doing, we had a
Mr.
full
Barton showed up.
Hey, we had a full
cool.
record before you knew it. So let's get Rob in here.
Cool.
Hey,
Rob.
Hey. Don't listen to a thing these guys tell you.
Happy birthday, my best buddy.
Thanks, man.
Birthday today?
Yesterday, actually.
Oh, very cool. Happy birthday, Rob. That's
Thank you
awesome.
very much. We won't say how old I am, but you know, still a good birthday. So how's it going? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. It's great to have you here, and thanks for taking the time, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry about that. I came in, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I gotta get on. Zoom wouldn't attach. I was going nuts, and then I had to get a beer, and you know, went downhill
Rob,
from there.
It's good timing that you got here, Rob. He was just asking if we were going to possibly put a full-length record together for the second record. And my answer was yes, but if you want to follow up with any of that thought, you're more than welcome to.
Yes, I think we should do. I think the next one should be a double live. You know, so like we got that. We got the Madison Square Garden gig next week, you know, and then I think the LA Forum is the week after that, and then we'll do. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm itching to record again. So we have a couple of songs that we're going to record. One is a cover song that we're going to do our own version of. And then there's a couple of older songs that we want to do, but we haven't started officially discussing the next record yet, but I certainly want to do that. I'm certainly itching to get back to doing that. So yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. That's cool. And, you know, since you're here, Rob, I want to congratulate you first, being a published author.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Just one more, a short story available. It is writing, you know, I mean, I assume you're writing some lyrics too. Yeah. Is writing song lyrics kind of the same process for you as writing a short story a bit? Is it a story to music when you write?
I think it comes from the same place. Songwriting's more, I don't know what the word I'm looking at. I guess it's more organic for me. So when I hear a piece of music, right away, what usually happens is for some reason I get the chorus in my head right away, like a chorus melody, and that's usually followed with lyrics right away. So right when I get those lyrics, it's usually I always go with the first idea because it's always seems to be the best when I'm writing songs. But yeah, it just comes out kind of like poetry. It's just kind of organic. Whereas the other kind of writing is you got to sit and think, you got to develop your characters, and you got to go through this whole process. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, writing stories is kind of my guilty side pleasure. I'm actually halfway through a novel right now, so that's been 2 years in the making.
Fantastic. That is it is a feat. You know, I have contemplated that myself, being a writer. It's a big undertaking, and you know, congratulations even on the short story, and you know, halfway through a novel. That's great news.
Thank you, appreciate that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, very cool. Anything you want to do differently, you know, now that Isolation's done and you guys did it the way you did it and you love the way you did it, is there anything though that you listen to, or, you know, as part of the process that you would want to do differently for the next record?
Right.
Well, I kind of already gave
We already gave our answers. We want to see if you fit in. You give the right answer. Watch my head. If I do this, you're on the wrong side.
Go ahead, Brian.
Well, no,
we already talked about it.
We've already answered this question.
He's asking you now.
Oh, you're asking me. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I thought that was a general to the room question. Differently, yes. So, you know, when you're recording, especially the way we did it, where we were doing it all from our own homes, and you could do it whenever you want and all that. I had the convenience of singing songs, you know, piecemeal. I would go, okay, I'm going to do a couple lines now, a couple lines later. So I pushed my range a lot more than I normally would on the record, not thinking about what would have to happen live. So I don't know if these guys discussed it already, but we had our debut gig a couple of days ago, and it was well rehearsed, and it went over really well. But when you're up there, and you're singing this stuff, I'm like, I'm kicking myself in the head while I'm singing. Going, why did I write that melody like that? Why did I do it? But yeah, like when I was recording, you know, next time I'm going to keep that more in mind about how it's going to be handled live. And, you know, I'm not saying I'm not going to go as high, but
you know what's funny about that? Before we even started recording, we said to Rob, because we want to, hey, dude, we want to save your voice. Let's not ruin things. Let's make it easy on you. Let's tune down a half step, and we'll make it a little easier. And then he sang it even higher.
Yeah, it's just where I want to go when I sing, right? And I always got to follow my instincts. You know, I don't want to lower something just because, oh no, that's going to be too high. But yeah, that's for me, absolutely a little less oomph, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I got you for sure. You know, I'd ask the guys this question. I'll ask you as well. For somebody new to the Suicide Star, what's the first thing they should hear? An introduction to Suicide Star.
Oh, you mean song wise?
Yeah. Like I'm gonna explore Suicide Star music. Where should I start? What's the first thing I should hear?
I would say, I don't know, man. It's hard to pick. I would say, believe it or not, I would say Mercy, and then the last song on the record, which is the Unknown. Nice. Surprisingly, it was good to at the show. It was good at the show because a lot of people were coming up saying, "Ooh, this is the song I like. This is the song I like." And there was 3 people who said they really liked the very last song on the record. And I'm like, "Oh," they're like, "Man, that's radio material. You gotta play that." And I'm starting to think, hey, you know, because when you do it kind of in a bubble, we all like what we like, but then you hear what everybody else liked, which is nothing like you thought it would be. But yeah, I mean, Mercy was the first video. It's, you know, it was the first one we said, hey, you know, let's do a video to that one. So I don't know, what did you guys, what were you guys thinking there?
We said the Step Echo song. I said, if I was to classify song, I think Mercy's a good one. I said I Survive. Like if it's one song that's going to kind of describe the band, but I think Mercy's a good one as well. I mean, we do play the two right one after the other, and that's a good one. But yeah, we said I Survive. We both Brian and I. It's like if you hear that song, you're gonna know. You know, some of the other songs are not really.
Yeah, totally. And I would agree. Either one of those songs, you know, and not that they're similar. Similar is not a good word, but they both encapsulate what you guys do, for sure. It's pretty great. Touring. You know, I know you guys are an indie band. There's the logistics of touring, especially outside of Canada. Very, 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 very difficult. Do you have a plan to play some local shows at least? Is there a tour agenda for you?
Well, there's really not a touring agenda. We're going to play in our area as much as we can, our area being spread out over 3-4 hour drives. Like in the States, you know, you're in a different state in 3 hours. You know, we've only broken past a couple of cities at that point here, right? So actually touring, as you know, we all have our own full-time jobs. Unless there's something that really rattles and somebody comes at us with some guarantee, we would be able to take some leave of absence of what we're doing and give it a short run here and there. But right now, there's really nothing. There's nobody banging on our doors, and there's nobody that's going to be paying us enough money to leave what we do for a living to go out and just try and go, here we are, we did it. What do we have for dinner tonight? We're splitting a hot dog. You know? We're a little older now, and it's not like, you know, you got mom and dad's house you can fall back on with no matter what you do, right? Not that our mentality on stage or in the band is any different. We still think we're kids, but there is the reality that we're, you know, older, have responsibility, and not going to do this for nothing, right? They're, you know, and that's where, you know, young bands can do it for nothing until they shake enough sticks that somebody goes, oh, these guys are something, but they've got nothing on the line at that point. Right. We have everything on our.
I think maybe a decent strategy for a band in our position is because there are quite a few bigger bands in the area or that come through the area, a lot of bigger Canadian acts. And I think as the word gets out more, I would like to get offers to do some opening slots for those bigger bands, because it's going to take time to get exposure, just as it does when you were 20, 19 years old. You know, it's going to take the same kind of playing live and having our music played, to have people know who we are and to say, hey, wait a minute, I heard, you know, Suicide Star, they opened for so-and-so a month ago. They were great. Let's have them play at this show. But having said that, between us, we do have a certain amount of connections that we're discussing with right now. So yeah, there's definitely things coming up. So yeah, but yeah, touring, I don't think it's very practical at this moment.
Right.
But yeah.
So like one-off shows, you know, big venues, we've done them in the past with some big names, and there are the connections, but not to be on a tour where we're going away for a month, you know, with the same band out of, because somebody's got to pay the mortgage.
That's the whole thing with touring. When you tour something, you're touring to support it, but nobody's, you know, what is there to support at this point? Nobody's put any money into us to support it, right? So it's until somebody's paying for us to be out there to support that, we have to keep an even brain on how to play live and sell the band, right?
Yeah, totally. It looks like I'll have to make my way up to Canada to see you guys.
Absolutely.
The US, there's challenges in playing in the US because you need to have a visa and all that stuff. So there are ways around it. But again, if we had somebody, you know, in the States saying, look, we'll have gear, you can get your way down. We don't need to make money as long as we're not losing money. We would easily, gladly take a day off or a weekend off and go somewhere. The point, it's just, again, the cost of the reality of having to put this together and the cost of doing it for nothing to go somewhere. So we're investing, but there's a point that we need to kind of stay within.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And yeah, I mean, the logistics for any size band really, you know, crossing borders and things like that, especially at this time, is difficult. It's very difficult. So
it would get real easy if there was a record label that got hot on it and put some money behind it.
Yeah.
Then it's easy.
And you know, I don't think that could be far away for you guys. This is Isolation.
That would be a dream come true.
Yeah, Isolation is a great record. People need to hear it. Go find it. And you know, you guys, you hit the right ear, and you might be coming to Chicago. Who knows?
That would be fantastic.
Windy City.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I got to let you guys go. I want to do this again. When you know, maybe for the Christmas song, that would be great. You can talk about, you know, the fun time you had doing, you know, some kind of, you know, rap funk tune for Christmas.
Yeah.
You guys, it's been a blast, man. I can't wait to do it again. Rob, especially thank you for, you know, coming by and joining us. It was a real surprise and very cool.
Thank you. I'm sorry I was so late, but I'm glad I at least got to come on for a while. It was fun.
Me too, for sure.
Don't typical singers. They come 10 minutes after the show.
I carry nothing but my microphone.
Yeah, there you go. All right, you guys, take care. Be safe out there, and I will talk to you later.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
All right.
Stay safe.
You.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
See you guys.